So today's kind of bittersweet. Today is episode 9 of the Fan Showdown, season 1, the finale. Oh, I mean season finale. Hang in there till the end though, because we definitely have some decisions to make about season 2. I need your help. This video is brought to you by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people. Explore new skills, develop existing interests, or just get lost in creativity. One of the courses that I'm fully invested in now, and one that I hope actually improves my channel, is Color Grading Introduction with Pro Colorist by Fred Trevino. Now, if you're a longtime viewer of my channel, you know that sometimes I miss the mark when it comes to color grading, and there's only so much you can learn from browsing YouTube. What I really needed was a full-blown course on color grading from someone, that knows what they're talking about. And that's what I found with Fred. And hopefully, fingers crossed, you guys will be seeing a difference on my channel soon. Skillshare offers memberships with meaning. Connect with the support of fellow creatives and enter a community of encouragement, communication, and inspiration. Whether you're looking to just fend off boredom, focus on self-care through creativity, or join a similarly creative community, Skillshare is the place to keep you learning. And the first 1,000 people to use the link in my description will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium. And after that, it's only $10 a month. So thanks again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Did you guys notice the board back there? After reprinting the refractor the correct way around and rerunning it and seeing how well it did, you guys made it very clear that Clarence deserved to make it on the board. So boom, there he is. Notching the poor tulip off the board though, sadly. So let's see if we can shake it up a little bit more in the season finale. All the fans today were printed in Form Futurist Silk PLA. This is some of my favorite PLA. So I'll leave a link down below for you guys to check it out if you guys want to try it. But first up in today's lineup is the HPS fan. The HPS fan was designed by Eduardo, and the inspiration behind this design came from the chevrons found on the trailing edge of some jet engine nacelles. Now on jet engines, these chevrons are used to reduce the noise level of the jet blast by controlling how the air, from the core and the high bypass mixes. Now, will this translate into a quieter fan? I don't know, but I respect the effort for taking, a proven engineering design and then adopting it for use in PC cooling. So A+ for that one. During testing, the HPS fan spun at an RPM of 1,707 and produced 1.853 cubic meters per minute of airflow through the radiator. What? Yeah, I got an airflow statistic now. You guys have asked for it, and I've definitely heard you, so I picked up this guy. This is a new anemometer, one that can read, airspeed at a more granular level than my other one could. Also, it just straight up tells you what the CMM or CFM is of the fan, or so of the air coming through this 120 millimeter radiator. So that's kind of what I was doing here. If I turn this bad boy on, it's got set to CMM. The size is the size of this radiator, and you just kind of hold it up to the back side here, make sure it's right way around, and yeah, it just kind of tells you. So, I thought that'd be interesting to check out. Now, as for the sound test, now that's the big thing that he's going for with these chevrons on the trailing edge here. How was this? Was it super ultra quiet? Well, not really. The HPS fan had a dBA reading of 46.8 and sounded pretty similar to the fans that you can find in almost every PC. Now, the next fan is pretty interesting. This is called the Math, or Math Fan. Here it is. It is designed by Johan. Now, the interesting thing about this fan is that Johan came up with the design for the blades by using the brachistochrone curve. But, what? Brachistochrone curve is Greek for shortest time. Essentially, it's a curve that's the fastest descent. The idea is that if you had a point A and a point B, and you released a ball from point A, the brachistochrone curve would be the path that would take the ball from point A to point B in the shortest amount of time. In layman's terms, it's a math. And that math created a pretty interesting fan, if I do say so myself. Essentially, this fan just looks like a whole bunch of scoops. The Math fan spins at 1,412 RPM and produces an airflow of 1.975 cubic meters per minute. The real interesting part, though, is the sound. It sounds a bit strange. It's quieter than the HPS at 44.6 dB. However, if you listen really close, it makes like this weird, strange kind of chirping sound. And at first I thought, it was something just kind of hitting the fan shroud, but after, taking a look and making sure nothing was hanging off the fan, that really wasn't the case. And this sound is only present once the fan reaches its max RPM. Now next up is the wing, and I'm sure I've seen many comments from people asking, you know, for fans to be designed like this. This was designed by Aaron, and the inspiration behind this fan was, yeah, you guessed it, an airplane wing. The blades are designed to replicate an under camber airfoil along with winglets, and he did a pretty solid job, if I do say so myself. The wing fan spun at 1,880 RPMs and produced 1.963 cmm of airflow through the radiator, and the noise was a bit loud coming from this one. It was coming in at 48.1 dBA and produced like a really high-pitched hum. Definitely the loudest fan so far. But last but not least is one that I've seen commented many times. It's the one-bladed wonder. For how long did we all want to see a fan comprised of one singular blade and like a counterweight? This is the one-bladed wonder. It was designed by Levi, and he said, as long as I printed this at 100% infill, that the counterweight would be the exact mass needed to balance out this fan. And I will say that after spinning it up, it did a pretty good job. It vibrates a little bit, but I have to say that's probably not due to his CG calculations in SolidWorks. It probably has to do with the printer itself, but all in all, I like it. Even more interesting is that this fan, with its one singular blade, spun at a whopping 2,519 RPM and produced 1.53 cubic meters per minute of air through the radiator. So the airflow wasn't really that high, but it definitely was spinning quite fast. And even cooler, even funnier, these are probably both not words, was the sound. It was reasonably quiet, coming in at 44.6, but the type of sound it made reminded me of like a turboprop aircraft, when the propellers are spinning at idle speed. I actually kind of found the sound enjoyable, at least for the little bit of time I listened to it. I'm sure if I listened to it for a long time, I've been like, well, I'm done with that. Now all that's well and good, but how do they do it moving air around? You know what that means. All the designs actually performed pretty well. I mean, all considering. Even the one with the cups, the math fan. Now, I originally thought that this was gonna maybe do poorly in the actual airflow visualization, because I would have thought that the cups being all at the same height and directly behind each other, that the cup in front would stall out the cup behind it and kind of eventually stall the whole fan disc. But actually that wasn't really the case. It did a really good job. So how'd they do in stress testing? The HPS fan, right here, this finished with an average temperature of 81.2 at a room temperature of 20.6, giving it a delta of 60.6. The math fan, or the fan of cups, Finished with an average temperature of 80.7 at a room temperature of 20.6, giving it a delta of 60.1. The wing fan finished with an average temperature of 80.1 at a room temperature of 20.1, giving it a delta of a solid 60. And the amazing one-bladed wonder finished with an average temperature of 81.6 at a room temperature of 20.8, giving it a delta of 60.8. Meaning that the wing fan placed first, followed by the math fan, followed by the HPS in third, and then the one-bladed wonder in fourth, meaning overall the wing fan placed 10th, the math fan placed 13th, the HPS fan placed 16th, and the one-bladed wonder placed 17th. Which again, unfortunately means that none of these fans are going to make the board, which is kind of a trend that we've been noticing. So far, if we actually look at season 1, we've tested over 30 designs, 30 of your guys' designs on season 1 of the Fan Showdown. And apart from the refractor, the board has remained unchanged since season 5 when Thomas literally broke the internet with his 30-minute design, the Acceleron. Now, we started season 1 in the summer where this room temperature, this is basically just a spare bedroom in my house, is quite, it was high at the time, and it was really hard to maintain because it's on the second level, so the AC kind of sucks at blowing air up here, and you get all these computers running, it gets a little hot. Now that it's fall, I'm able to maintain this room at a more steady 20.5 C or around there, like 21 at least. And because of that, I wanted to see if there was any change if I retested the top 5 fans. So after the retest, the Delta T did increase, but the rankings, they pretty much stayed the same. However, if you look at the numbers now, based on all the numbers previously, they all kind of start to overlap, and I just can't retest 30 fans because that would take forever. So instead, we're just going to declare Thomas and the Acceleron the winner of season 1 of the Fan Showdown, and just going to clear the board out for all you guys to make your, for all your new fans to have a spot to make the board. But for season 2, we can't just do the same thing. In my opinion, I think we've reached the limit of this 120mm AIO on that 7700K CPU. And for season 2, I want to change it up. I want to spice it up a little bit. I want to go for one with air cooling, and I want to do it inside of a case, not on a open air test bench. And also, the CPU I'm proposing we use is my 3700X. Now, the idea behind this is that air cooling obviously is different than water cooling. More people probably do air cooling than water cooling. And also the AMD 3700X, not only can we measure the CPU and see how they perform, but the CPU frequency is very dependent on the temperature. So a cooler running CPU will have a higher boost clock, which is another metric we can look at. Now this is just a thought, so make sure to let me know what you think. And also, I have an upcoming air cooler video where we're going to be looking at 4 different air coolers to see which one performs the best on the 3700X. And one of those air coolers is going to be the Season 2 test bench. So make sure you watch that video and give me your vote for which one you think we should use. I was planning on using the one that just performed the best, but maybe you guys have one you have one in mind. And also, if you think you have what it takes to design the winning fan of Season 2, the Fan Showdown, make sure to get subscribed to my channel and then head over to my Thingiverse account, link down here, where you can kind of see, I have a model there and a drawing that'll kind of show you the specifications of the fans that you need to send in. And also, when you do get your design all finished out, make sure to send me an STL file to the fanshowdown@gmail email address. That's where you got to send your fans if you want to get them on the show. And I think I'm going to have to design some sort of trophy to mount the Acceleron. Till next time.